the nurse was like, come over on this side. I'm like, okay. And I'm looking. I'm like, oh, cool. You know, I'm not like, oh, that's gross. I'm never going to have sex with her again. Hi, everyone. Today we have a special guest, and it is Leia. Say hi. Hi, my name is Leia. Oh, yeah? You're such a happy baby.
Yeah. Oh, no, I have lipstick. I'm not going to kiss it right now.
Yes, please don't. So you guys already know that we've had one crazy birth experience, and it all started here in this house, in our new home. We moved into this home, and a week later, everything happened.
I think we've been anticipating the moment when we have to go to the hospital. We had a really late night and was up editing videos, and we were sleeping, and I just kind of woke up all of a sudden because I started getting contractions.
What was I doing? I was sleeping?
You were sleeping. So I didn't wake him up because I felt like you only slept maybe like 2 hours before.
1 hour.
Okay, 1 hour before you're editing videos, you must be tired. I was just trying to sleep it off because I was in denial, and I was like, no way, these must be Braxton Hicks contractions. I think maybe I was rolling around for like an hour or something, just trying to readjust. And then I know that the OB told me that if I'm trying to move and the feelings or the cramps don't go away, then that means that it's really happening. I still was in denial. I didn't even wake him up yet until I went to the restroom. I felt like I just really had to go until I saw like spotting and stuff. So that was when I woke you up.
So how were you feeling when you saw that?
I was nervous because I didn't know what it meant, and it just kind of reminded me of like past experiences with the miscarriage. So I was just kind of freaking out a little bit.
So you thought it was a bad thing that you saw spotting?
I think so, just because of the past experience. So
yeah.
That was just always something that was a bad sign to me. I was just sitting on the toilet. I didn't even know what to do. I was just sitting there, and I opened up the restroom door, and then I started like calling Anne's name just to try to wake him up.
How long did it take for you to wake me up?
You didn't wake up, so I had to get up and then go to him and just like nudge you and stuff so you woke up.
Were you doing that with your pants off because you just came off the toilet?
No, like I wiped and I put my pants on and stuff.
I'm really curious to see what your reaction was even before you went to the restroom. Like your first like,
I think I was just in denial the whole time.
What did you think it was?
Braxton Hicks contractions.
Oh.
So Braxton Hicks contractions are false labor contractions, so it's kind of preparing you for labor.
Keep in mind that we weren't due for about 5 or 6 more days.
Yeah.
But you should have been prepared because it can come early.
I know,
and it did.
I think we knew that too. It's funny because the night before I was just telling him, you know what, I don't think she's gonna come early. I think she's gonna come on time.
Were you in pain when we were at home? Why were you doing your makeup?
Because they weren't consistent. See, Anne kept asking me how often it was that I was getting contractions. But when you're getting contractions, you don't pay attention to anything. Like, you can't focus on anything at all.
Well, one of the things that she was taking her time to go to the hospital was we've always told ourselves that the moment that she would feel contractions, we would take our time. It's not like the movies. Your water doesn't break. You're in the car ride. You know. It's
sometimes your water does break though. Mine just
but
didn't.
Even then, you're not screaming in pain like the movies.
True.
And then you're not running red lights and getting to the hospital, and then bam, the baby comes out.
That's
you know?
true.
Everyone tells me it's like 10 hours, 18 hours, 24 hours, 30 hours, right? So I said, all right, once you feel contractions, we'll just take our time. Let's not run red lights. Just do everything at a good pace. And so when we're at the hospital, we can just be in and out.
I think I already planned it that way too, because I was like, okay, whatever happens, once my water breaks or once I start getting contractions or going into labor, I'm just gonna take it slow. I'm gonna get ready and not focus on it. And I mean, that's what I did.
Her little squeals are so funny.
She makes the cutest little noises ever.
Yeah.
So this girl, when she was born, she had really long nails. She has really long nails and she has really long fingers. And this is what she was doing when she was born. She was holding onto my finger. So I think I was in a lot of pain when you're telling me to keep track of the contractions. So I kept like timing it to see how long they were lasting. And then he'll ask me like a second later, like, okay, how far apart was that? And I was like, I don't know. I don't remember.
You know, your little pains are pretty cute. It was like in the movies when the girl sneezes, goes, achoo! Oh, the baby comes out, right?
Yeah,
or she's all like, ooh, that was a big one. And that was exactly how you were. You're just like, ouch, 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 ouch. Okay.
We went to this place that had, anyway, they had these really amazing cheeseburgers.
All right. It doesn't seem that bad. I'm sure it was, but you handled it pretty well.
Thank you.
When we got to the car, how'd you feel?
I was in denial.
During the whole car ride?
Yeah, I think until we got to the hospital.
I think it took us almost an hour to get there.
Yeah, it took a while. It was what, like 4 or 5 in the morning.
Yeah.
There was no traffic, but Anne was going slow too, just in case, to be safe. We don't want to rush and like put ourselves in danger.
I felt like I was driving 90 miles per hour though. From the car ride, even before the car ride when we were at home, I might have seemed composed at that moment. moment, but in my mind, I was so excited. The moment you woke me up, I was like, oh my god, it's happening, and everything in my body just jolted. I was really excited, and I just tried to stay composed for you so you wouldn't lose your mind, but I was losing my mind.
You did it pretty well.
After watching our video, I was like,
yeah.
It looked like I was pretty excited.
I thought he did pretty well. I thought he was really calm and chill about it until I saw the video, and then I saw like how he was kind of fidgety and he was kind of getting excited, and the way that he was responding to my responses, like I knew for sure he was like nervous but excited at the same time.
She fell asleep.
She's been having a rough night lately.
Dude, she's been waking us up like every hour.
Yeah, last night,
baby? Why?
I couldn't get her to sleep until 3 a.m.
From the time we went into the car, my reactions were pretty crazy. I was just driving like really high alert. I was trying to vlog while driving, but it was so dark that I couldn't get anything.
Yeah, you couldn't see anything. It was pretty much night.
At some point, I just stopped looking and I just focused on driving.
Yeah.
Until we got to the actual hospital. Yeah.
I was pretty calm.
How about the moment we got out of the car?
When I was trying to get out of the car, I started feeling contractions, so I had to stop halfway.
Oh, that time when you're sitting in the car with the door open?
Yeah.
Why is your hand up? Every time she sleeps, no matter what time of the day, what position she's in, it's always this.
Yeah.
Both her hands are up like this, and that's just how she sleeps.
And she's always posing, or she's like this, or she's like this.
How was it when we got out of the car and we're walking to the hospital?
It wasn't that far. I think we didn't even know what floor we were supposed to go on.
Oh, dude, the guy at the front desk lobby, he was such a butthole, man. Once we got to the lobby, I was like, we're in labor and she's pregnant, and he's all like, no, she's in labor. And I was just like, okay.
Yeah.
And he was an ass the whole time.
He was rude because we were holding the camera, right? And then we were coming in, we were vlogging everything, and he just kind of looked at us.
I wasn't even vlogging him, though. I was vlogging
No,
you.
I know. Probably like looking at the mic because no one really knows that's a mic. And then they're probably just like, oh, what are they doing? But I think he was still being an ass.
I was trying to document my wife's labor.
Yeah.
I mean, these are memories forever for little Leia.
Yeah.
She gets scared all the time.
So when we got to the hospital, we were pretty much just waiting to see if we were even going to get admitted. There was a possibility that I wasn't going to because I was only,
3 centimeters dilated.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to be 4 centimeters before they can admit you. And I didn't even know that you have to get those approved before you get admitted. I thought once we were there and you're inside those rooms, we're all good to go.
Yeah.
I didn't know they were going to send you back. So they were going to send her back, and they're actually going to have her walk around and do all this stuff to see if she can dilate before she actually goes home. That would have sucked.
Because I was feeling contractions and I wasn't trying to like walk around and stuff.
No.
When we were trying to walk from the car to the hospital, I was getting contractions and I would have to stop midway. So.
But the good thing is, the next time they checked her, she was at 4 and we were good to go. So we got really, really lucky. She didn't have to walk around. She didn't have to go back home. Everything was good. And then the nurse said, you're not leaving this hospital without a baby. So, and that's exactly what happened to this little girl. I pet her like Ryu sometimes.
Oh no.
The moment we went into the labor and delivery, the real deal started happening, and it's labor time. And what happened with this epidural problem?
So when we were pretty much in the labor and delivery room, I was pretty much able to handle the pain. It wasn't that bad, and I was gonna push off for as long as I could. But then the nurse told us that the anesthesiologist, he got called in for some emergency procedures. So it was either I get it at that very moment, or I get it a few hours later when he was done.
When I was looking at you, you didn't look like you're in a lot of pain. I don't know what your level of pain was at that time. So
I don't think it was that bad.
Like a 5 out of 10. Her pain level wasn't that much, and we were saying, okay, you know, I think she can handle it for a few hours.
Yeah.
So we decided to wait for this guy to finish all his surgery procedures and then get to her to do epidural. So hopefully at that time we're ready to go. We waited about an hour and a half, and the nurse came in and said, okay, big problem. Some surgeries have been delayed. Your epidural will be delayed. And at that time, her pain was getting a little bit rougher. So we're like, oh no, I don't know if she can wait another 2 hours. And then they're like, well, let me call him and see if he can come now. And that's what happened. Instead of waiting a few more hours or maybe even longer if it got delayed again.
Yeah, because we didn't even know how long it was going to take.
So we're like, you know, let's play it safe. Let's just get it now. She says that it wouldn't affect you if you were to get it now. You know, you would still keep dilating. I had to step out for a second because they didn't allow me to be in there.
Hospital policy is that no one can be in the room when you're getting the epidural because in the past they've had people that fainted because they saw it. And I guess it's because of like the procedure, and then also because the needle's like really big.
How big was it?
I couldn't see it.
You didn't see it? They didn't show you?
No.
He just went like this?
I think I would have passed out if I saw it, or I'd freak out. Because I think if patients saw it, they probably would back out.
I wish I found some kind of reason to stay in there and
Yeah.
saw it because when I was waiting in the waiting room, they said it was 10 minutes, 10 to 15. And it was
Yeah.
actually like 30 minutes. And I was like pacing back and forth, like, what's going on? Hey, is she done yet? What's taking so long? I text her, no response. And I just ended up just waiting in front of the door. And I was like, you know, this
Sounds
I
about
should have
right.
just told them that I was a nurse and I could handle it.
Yeah, right.
That's what I'm gonna do next time because there's no way I'm gonna leave you again because that just sucks every time.
Yeah.
When I left you for the miscarriage during the procedure and it lasted more than it should, and then this time for the epidural when it was more than it should, it's just nerve-wracking. I don't want to go through that. I'm just gonna try and stick by your side and not leave because I want to make sure everything's okay.
They probably still won't let you stay though.
And I'll find a way.
pretty sure.
I'll find a way next time.
Yeah, well, I guess with the procedure too, is the nurse pretty much had put a pillow right here and I had to hunch over it. And then I had to like separate my spine. I didn't feel anything though when they did it. And I think it took longer because they put it in and then I had to lay there to see like if it was working. So I think that's why you couldn't come in until like 30 minutes later in case they had to do it again.
Do you think you could have handled the labor without the epidural?
Possibly. I felt like I pretty much went through it at the hardest part, like the more difficult part of the labor.
Like the pushing part?
Yeah, the pushing part and feeling everything still. Like the only thing that was completely numb was my right leg, which was kind of useless because like, what's the point?
So the whole time you got the epidural, but yet you were still feeling pain throughout the entire labor.
In the beginning though, like once
What do
I
you
got
mean?
it, I didn't feel the contractions anymore. I just felt
Uh-huh.
pressure. Every time a contraction came, I just felt pressure
Yeah.
on my stomach and that was it. Like there's no pain. A while after, then it just started coming back and then I started feeling the contractions again like I did
Right.
before the
So
epidural.
as it got closer, the anesthesiologist came down again to give her more strong of a dose. She still wouldn't feel it.
Yeah.
And he waited in the room for another 15-30 minutes and she still wasn't feeling it in the right areas. So he gave her more again.
It didn't do
It
anything.
didn't really do anything. It just numbed one side of her.
Yeah.
And she even has a button on the side where she can push it once for more. I know that the epidural was running through your system because you're feeling nauseous.
Yeah.
Because when you do drugs, that's what happens,
Yeah.
right? It was kind of like I was afraid that you might OD at some point because you were just getting so much. They were topping it off,
Yeah.
and it was getting kind of scary.
When he first gave me the epidural too, he was like, okay, where do you feel it? I was like, well, I feel it more on the right side because you feel like a cooling sensation.
Yeah.
So I felt it more towards the right. My left leg, I felt everything completely, but my right leg was just like dead. Like I couldn't even walk
Yeah.
with it for even the next day. So I don't know what happened. They said it shouldn't have been happening that way.
You were pretty successful in handling the pain. You did a good job.
Thank you.
And when it came down to the actual pushing, how did it feel?
It hurt.
Did it really?
It hurt. I was trying so.
You looked pretty good. We couldn't record that part because we had to sign some waivers saying that we're not allowed to film during that
Hospital.
procedure. When she was actually pushing, she looked pretty good. So what happens is that, oh, here comes contraction. All right, push. And 1, 2, 3. Oh, they count to 10.
And that's the hard part too because you're feeling pain from the contractions.
Yeah.
And then that's when you have to push. So it's like pain plus pressure and you have to hold yourself up and like you have to use all of your
So
strength.
I'm like holding her up, holding her head,
Yeah.
and holding her hand, and I'm like, go, 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 keep pushing for 10 seconds, and then she stops and takes a deep breath, and then pushes again for another 10 seconds, and stops and does it one more time.
Yeah.
And during that time, those 3 pushes, she can't even take air. She just takes one big gasp and then pushes. So it's really hard because you can't even catch yourself.
Yeah.
And she was doing that for an hour straight.
And then just feeling all of the pain. And then once you feel a contraction come, like you don't want to do anything. You just want to lay there because you don't want to feel the pain, right? It was like...
Dude, and you were getting double contractions like back to
Yeah.
back. So the nurse was saying that, all right, if you can do it more than 3 times, try for a 4th.
Yeah.
But you
I
couldn't.
couldn't.
Yeah, you couldn't.
It was so exhausting because you're losing your breath already. And plus, you're trying to avoid the pain. And you're using all of your strength at the same time to try to push this baby out. It was just too much. But I think like she finally came because on the last push, I did it like a 4th time.
When she was pushing and it was getting closer, she was going down, right? When your stuff started opening up, you could see her hair. So it was like that. You can see her hair sticking out. When you stop, it goes like this, watch. So this is her hair, right?
Yeah.
And then when you stop, then it goes like this.
No.
And I'm like, oh no! And then you push again and it goes back like that. And then at some point, it got to where almost the last push and she was like this. This much of her head was sticking out. Almost to her last push, Leia was sticking out this much out of her and she had no more contractions. So she had to stop and wait for a contraction. And it was like maybe 5 minutes later before she can push again. With the baby sticking out this much, like What happened?
I felt the pressure because it's
What
like
do you mean
this,
pressure?
Because it's like opening up and it's staying open, so
Yeah.
you have this big head that's like keeping you open.
Was it like burning?
Kind of. So the OB was just like digging into me, or I don't know what he was doing. Like you saw everything.
Yeah.
I couldn't. So but I felt like the pressure of everything that he was doing. And then when her head got stuck, like he was already irritated and he was like stretching it or whatever. So then when her head was just there, like I just felt like there was something keeping me open.
Yeah.
Right? It was just stretching and
It was her head and his hands.
Oh my god. Yeah, he
Yeah.
was just there. Her head was there. He stuck his hands in.
It's crazy. So the whole time, this is the actual position, and I'm holding her like this, and then I can see Leia's head sticking out, and I'm just like looking at her head, looking at the doctor, like, oh my god, what's about to go on?
I wanted to give up because of the pain. Like it was so bad.
How are
I
you
just-
gonna give up? She's like halfway.
I know, but you know when you're pushing for like an hour,
Yeah.
like sometimes when a contraction comes, like you don't want to do it, but at the same time you just have to make yourself, because the longer you wait, the longer you get to meet your baby.
And how did you feel when she came out?
It felt good because I heard her crying and it was just so surreal. They really say like once your baby's out, once you see them and hear them, like nothing else matters. You forget about all the pain you just went through and like
Did
the
you?
whole procedure. Yeah, I did.
Oh.
Yeah, because once she came out, like that's all I focused on. Like I didn't think about what was going on down there. I didn't think about the fact that my legs
Yeah.
were like on prongs and it was just like up there for
Yeah.
everyone to see in the room. But I was just waiting for them. Usually they'll put the baby on you directly, but I guess she had a lot of fluids, so they had to like suck everything out of her.
When she came out, they put Leia on top of her stomach, and then the doctor held the umbilical cord like this, and he's like, snip right here. And then I was like, where? And the scissors that he gave me is those surgical scissors where it's like on the tip, it's only this much sharp to where you can actually have space to cut. It's not like the whole blade. You know, it's like this much. So when I'm cutting it, I'm like, snip. Oh crap. And then I'm like, snip, and it's like this, you know? And I was like, oh no, like I wonder if it's gonna hurt because it's like all tearing up. It took about 4 tries, and then I finally snipped her umbilical cord. That was kind of weird.
Describe how the umbilical cord felt.
It was kind of spongy and chewy texture. Some cultures, they eat intestines and stuff, like boiled
Yeah.
intestines. I don't eat that stuff.
I don't
But
either.
it's like, you just feel it. It's weird. Yeah, I cut that, and yay!
Good job. You didn't faint either.
Yeah. So actually watching the whole process of the baby coming out of you, that was a really awesome experience.
Yeah.
I thought I was gonna be like, I don't want to see that, it's gross, but when you're in the moment and you're pushing for so long, by the time those things come out, it's like you're already over all that stuff. So you
True.
want to see it, you want to see her come out. So word of advice to all the soon-to-be dads out there, when your wife or your girl is giving birth, go ahead and watch the whole experience. It's awesome. You won't feel sick, you won't barf. It's really awesome. It's great. So I really encourage everyone to see that.
I didn't even want him to see it at first. I was like, okay, you're just gonna stay on this side with me. You're not gonna look at
Dude,
anything over there.
The nurse was like, come over on this side. I'm like, okay, and I'm looking, I'm like, oh, cool. You know, I'm not like, oh, that's gross, I'm never
Yeah.
gonna have sex with her again. It was like, oh, that's awesome. Yeah,
So I thought it was kind of
loved
cool
it,
that he
baby.
saw it and he like actually enjoyed it. He wasn't like disgusted or
No, it was
anything by
cool.
it. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was disgusted when the placenta came
yeah,
out. That
I
was gross.
too. I wasn't
It
expecting
was like
that.
they pulled out this big sack and it looked like a stomach that just came out.
Yeah.
And I was like, ugh, I don't know how people
It was
eat
huge,
that.
just like what, like this size too, I think.
It was bigger
It was
than that.
attached by something. It
Do
was like
people really eat that?
sometimes because it's supposed
Why?
to be like good for your skin or something.
That's gross,
Yeah.
dude. Good morning.
Oh, cutie.
She's getting a little chubby
I
with all that
know.
milk. So I guess the last thing, you know, how did it actually feel when she was on you?
It was like one of the best feelings in the world. Like when she was on me, I just wanted to cry and stuff because it's like we waited so long for her. Just seeing her and hearing her cry.
Did it feel weird though that it was like something was in your stomach and then now it's out of you on top of your stomach?
No,
Oh,
because you
cool.
would think you would feel like, oh, you had this big bump, right? And once she came out, like, oh,
It didn't
just-
feel empty?
No, because you weren't thinking
Cool.
about that because you're just like focusing on her being on you. She was laying on my chest and she was holding my finger the whole time.
She's so strong. The moment she came out and she was
Yeah.
laying on you, she
Yeah.
was like trying to hold her head up like,
She's smiling.
yeah.
Aw.
That is our birth story and everything about this little girl that caused you all that havoc.
She is definitely worth it.
Yeah.
She's such a cutie.
Is it? You ready for another one now? You know,
Not
the moment she
yet.
came out and then we had to deal with everything, I was like, I'm not ready for a second one. You know, I actually almost cried almost 6 or 8 times during the whole labor process. I don't know, it was just really emotional. So the times when I was texting people like, hey, she's in labor, I almost lost it, but I held it in. I was washing my hands and I was just like, I can't believe we have a baby. I can't believe this all happened. Everything that we went through is just well deserved. And that's when I was just really emotional. I cried a little bit, you didn't see it. Some tears came out and I was just really happy for you and for us.
I wish I could have recorded you in that moment too. I wish we could have just had the camera there.
We'll get at the next one. How about we switch hospitals at the next one?
We can. I don't know. It was a good experience over there though, but we'll see.
Next one, let's go to the worst hospital in America.
No.
And we'll film that one. Worst hospital in America, we're giving birth there. Alright? Yeah. But that's all we have time for today, guys. So if you guys like this birth story, don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe. We are a growing family, growing with you guys. So we thank you for everything, from all the things that we went through. We couldn't have done this without you. So until next time, we'll see you Mondays and Thursdays, 3 p.m. Bye. Bye. What's her voice like? Bye. Bye.